This is a book that is very insightful and fun to read. It's called The Calling Journey by Tony Stoltzfus. And this book is about the stages leaders move through as they move toward their destiny. And the basis of this book, it started from observations about my own life and the lives of people I was working with or coaching. And then I did some lengthy Bible study about the stages of biographical leaders in the Bible and what they went through. And what I discovered were there some really interesting patterns of places where people, it seemed like they were moving toward their destiny, and then places in life where it seemed like they were moving away from their destiny. So for instance, one of the things I discovered early on is that many biblical leaders had a profound experience early in life of being released into their destiny and then feeling like it was taken away from them. So for instance, Joseph is dad's favorite and has the coat of many colors and is functioning in his gift with dreams and his prophetic insight, and then he gets sold as a slave into Egypt. So this up and down thing. Or David slays Goliath and becomes the king's favorite, and the king's son, the heir to the throne, becomes his best friend, and then Saul tries to kill him and he's on the run in the wilderness. Or Moses goes out and sees his people and he has hopes for being their deliverer, and then kills the Egyptian and ends up hightailing it out into the desert. So I just started to observe these interesting patterns, and when I was writing the Christian Life Coaching Handbook, originally this was going to be a chapter in that book, but the book was too long. So I just finally decided I'll cut this calling journey part out and make a whole book out of that. So then I did a study where I interviewed about 50 leaders in depth. We did 90-minute interviews where they talked through their life story. And then I constructed timelines for them and went back and got feedback on it. And I also did informal interviews with a whole bunch of other people. But all that distilled down became the model of the calling journey. And what this model is just, it's a map. It's a map of what your life will look like as you move toward your destiny. And here's a quick picture of what the map looks like. And what it says is there's common seasons that you go through in life where you're productive and God has similar tasks. And there's common valleys you'll go through in life where God does similar things at different places on your journey. And these valleys are predictable, and they serve a function. They move you toward your destiny because things are built in you in the valleys that you will need in the next season of life. So the biggest response that I get from people when they read this book is that they tell me I sighed with relief because I realized that I was normal. And deep inside all of us as Christians, there's this picture that somehow our life ought to be, a steady onward and upward rise to glory with no bumps along the way. But we all know in reality that life is really messy and stuff doesn't work out that way. And what the calling journey does is it brings meaning to that messiness of life, and it shows you what God was doing. So when you read it, you'll come away with a heightened sense of where God was and is in your journey. And if you focus in on the stage that you're in now, it will also give you some really practical, it'll help you know the stage you're in, know what God is doing, and understand how to respond to his agenda. So I use this all the time when I coach. It's a tremendously helpful tool when people are in transitions or difficult seasons. Just brings a lot of understanding to the cycles of life. So that's the calling journey by Tony Stoltzfus. There's also a Calling Journey website, thecallingjourney.com, that has a timeline builder on it. So if you want to get a taste of the model, you can go to that website. That's thecallingjourney.com.